Hi everyone, welcome to 24 Hours in My Country Kitchen. My name is Megan. I'm a mum to 6 kids, from babies, toddlers up to teens, and we live in the country in New South Wales, Australia. So we started on the previous evening. My daughter and I were putting together a sourdough cinnamon roll recipe. I love the convenience of sourdough in that I can make up a dough and leave it on the bench all night. It is doing the good work of fermenting and rising and proofing for me, and then I can just get to it the next day. So the other thing that I need to do is shape the sourdough loaf I got going at lunchtime on this day and pop it into the fridge for its overnight long ferment. Rain across the valley, and at the moment, plenty of it. We were actually woken by thunderstorms this morning, passing through around 7 a.m. I can't say that I have a more appreciated way to start the day at this point in the season after a long, dry winter. And of course, the difficulties are the lack of pasture for animals, the challenges with gardening in a very dry vegetable patch, but also just keeping up with water. Our water is off grid here. We're reliant wholly upon our water tanks. And so we have been buying in water from water delivery companies that bring in the town water for us when we're truly desperate. But with so many people and so much laundry and so many dishes to wash and showers to be had and all the rest of it, it does go quick. So anytime that I can see a water tank filling up for free with fabulous water from the sky, rain, I really just feel content. Simple breakfasts here this morning out of my kitchen with several people going in several different directions. Teens are often doing some kind of social clubs and things that they like to do. Another teen catching up with a friend and doing all those teen things. Then we have library trips and grandparents visiting and all kinds of weekendy goodness. Now, I'm going to get this cinnamon roll going. This is sort of going to be a morning tea treat, something for people to grab on their way out or something for people to look forward to on their way home after a busy morning. Now, it was really simple. Having that sitting on the bench, I can just come in the morning after breakfast shift, and as I said, it was super simple this morning. Sourdough bread with fried eggs on top was about the bulk of it. And then after a hot cup of tea and a bit of a walk outside, check on the animals, I can get going with this dough. I'm rolling it out into a rectangle shape. We've got the cinnamon filling here to put together, butter, coconut sugar, cinnamon, and a little bit of flour just to stabilize it. I'm going to cream it together with the KitchenAid. Of course, absolutely easy by hand as well. I feel like I'm a bit reliant on my stand mixer these days. All these chores I used to do with my arms. Now I'm going to spread that out over the dough. And I found this dough recipe was quite simple to work with. It was forgiving and well structured, easy to roll up into the cinnamon roll shape. Then I just cut it into as many sections as I wanted. I could have kept it to be a little more perfect and just made maybe 8 large cinnamon rolls, but because I had the varying ages of different people and a couple of extras around today, I wanted to make sure that there were enough to go around. Little faces were very much lined up to try these out. I've never baked cinnamon rolls before, and the scent through the house and the kitchen was absolutely irresistible. But alas, sweet buns alone aren't enough to tide over a family of 8 throughout the day. So I'm back into the kitchen and let's get together a filling, warm lunch for a stormy, wild day. Now, I had just a couple of handfuls here of beef mince left over, not much at all, and I want to stretch this into a meal to make sure there is enough to feed the masses. I'm going to brown off the beef mince that I do have. I think there must be about 200 grams or so here left over from a different meal. And I'm going to saute it off just in a little oil on a hot pan, and I'll see what I can add to this to stretch it into a tasty, savory sauce. Now, my mind is going for a nice simple bolognese direction. And I have a special request alongside my son's favourite, or well, his current favourite, which is garlic bread. I actually introduced this to him just very recently, or I guess he's probably had it before but is old enough now to appreciate it. And also the thing that he's finding so exciting about the process is that he grew this garlic himself, of course. So harvesting it over the last week, and now seeing us bring it into the kitchen and use it in meals has been such a revelation for the children who are interested in and paying attention to gardening and growing their own food. They really are connecting the dots and seeing it all happen, and it means a lot to some of them. Not as much to others, but I guess that's life in general. Now I'm going to use this sourdough bread I baked first thing this morning. The routine is for me to get the oven preheating the moment I step foot into the kitchen, first thing in the morning. And after it is preheated, the bread that was rested overnight in the fridge goes straight into a hot cast iron pot and bakes. Now I'm just going to slice a few pieces of this. This is absolutely going to do my family of 8. The bread is, it's filling, and I absolutely slather on the butter. Look, even for myself, I think I overdid it on this day. But we're going to cut the pieces of garlic bread into pieces, and everybody will just have 1 or 2 small pieces each. So a few slices of bread are stretched to the max. Now I'm just going to mix up some butter, the fresh garlic, and some dried parsley that I keep to hand at all times. Pop it under an ultra hot grill for about 10 minutes, and this will be done and ready to serve on the side. Harvesting the garlic was rewarding. I find garlic still to be just a kind of magical crop, the way that you can just pop 1 clove into the earth, do pretty much nothing for 6 months, come along and pull it out, and it has multiplied into another head of fresh organic garlic. I just find that if I'm struggling with a garden for any given reason in any given season, just getting garlic in on the shortest day and then bringing it out closer to the longest day works so well for just being a rewarding backyard crop. Now, with this bolognese sauce, I'm going to take this small amount of beef mince that I have, and I've got some red lentils that I've rinsed here, maybe 3/4 of a cup, 2/3 of a cup. I'm just going to use a jarred sauce right out of the pantry, pop it on this beef mince, and I have a little bit of chicken broth left in the fridge made from another meal. So I'll finish that off today in this meal and pop these red lentils straight into the pot. Now all I need to do is some more salt and some more pepper. The jar sauce, of course, has seasoning, but I am stretching this out, so I need to add a little more. Pop the lid on, and I'd say for these red lentils, they'll be ready in half an hour. Now this would also be really tasty over rice or over mashed potato, but today I'm going to use some of the sourdough pasta I have in the pantry. Cook that up. That's probably going to take about 8 minutes. I'll stir it up with just a spoonful of butter just to stop it from sticking, because this is one of those meals I'm going to leave on the stovetop, and people can just come along and serve themselves a hot meal whenever they need. Now I want to try and stretch the amount of meat that I feed my family and just be a bit more frugal with it going forwards, making sure that I am stretching things and adding other things into our diet that are beneficial for us. So lentils and pulses and beans and things like that, and just more veggies as well. I love meals like this that are so simple and frugal, but also that I can just leave them on the hob of the stove, and people who are coming and going can make themselves a hot, nourishing meal so simply when it suits them, but also that leftovers, they can be very flexible. I think that this bolognese sauce would be so good over a roast baked potato, and I might actually do that with the leftovers tomorrow. Also, this could easily be thinned out into more of a soup-like consistency with some extra chicken broth, and that would be really tasty too. It really is easy to see why garlic bread is just so many people's favorites. And this sourdough version is just so hearty and filling. A little goes a long way. It was so nice on the side of this plate, dipped into the lentil bolognese sauce. Really just a tasty, simple lunch. Now, dinner on this weekend evening was very simple leftovers, or anybody who wanted to have more of lunch that was also leftover. Basically a clean out the fridge before shopping week kind of evening. But one last thing I have to get done before the kitchen is tucked in for tomorrow is to get this last loaf of sourdough fermenting on the bench top so that we can start the cycle again tomorrow. And it's just a small investment into tomorrow's busyness. Thanks for joining me today as I go about my kitchen day, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you have, please like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!